It's clinic day. We're going to a clinic with Boyd Martin. I have a lot to do before we go, but I'm super excited. We went to a Boyd Martin clinic today. Boyd Martin is a big-time eventer. He's been to the Olympics, very well known in the equestrian world, and he hosted a show jumping clinic in the Millbrook, New York area. I rode in the beginner novice group this morning. It was 15 degrees, so cold. Overall, I think the clinic was super beneficial. He had some really tough exercises that I really enjoyed. He definitely pushes you and makes you try some really hard things, especially in a small indoor. I was shocked at how many jumps he was able to squeeze in there and how many different exercises we worked on. So I'm just going to jump right in and show you guys some of the exercises that we worked on. Here we are jumping into a one stride combination where there's poles added to help us focus on our straightness. Exercise we've practiced before and we did fine at. I think Boyd did have a good pointer because I was in a group with some larger horses. I felt the need to really push her in and get the one stride because she's a pony, and Boyd said even though I did the distance well, I was being a little too pushy and rushy and I needed to slow down and control the power. So here we're continuing to work on this one stride combination. A lot of the audio from the film was really noisy, but here in a second you'll be able to hear Boyd explaining to me that he just wants me to slow down a little bit and stop fighting with my mare.
Very good. Just gently try and slow him a bit without fighting a bit.
And now we're going to go through the combination in one direction. We'll do a roll back over a small oxer, and then we will change direction and take on the combination going the opposite direction. He also really wanted me to work on getting a nice controlled speed. So the pony mare that I have the privilege of riding tends to be really hot, and as much as, the power is a good thing, he really wanted me to work on controlling the power and slowing it down a little bit and not losing the power, not going slow, but just slowing my rushy movements down a little bit. From there, we kind of moved into the rest of the clinic, which was more coursework. We started out with some rollback exercises and some bending lines, and we kept the jumps a little bit smaller. So here we started some smaller pieces to some coursework. We started with some rollbacks, which I didn't get any footage of, and then we started incorporating rollbacks with some lines and bending lines. With the rollbacks, I feel like Gypsy and I did pretty well. Bending line-wise, I struggled a little bit in the clinic, and I think mostly it was my fault. I just didn't see, I was a little nervous throughout the whole thing, and I wasn't really seeing a good distance to mostly one of the bending lines we were practicing. I did get some really good feedback and takeaways from that bending line work with Boyd, and I think he pointed out that because the pony mare that I ride is hot, when I land from the first jump, I tend to panic at the speed and whoa a little too much in the line to try to set myself up for the second jump. And Boyd just worked with me on, as I land, relaxing a little bit and again gathering control and preparing for the second jump, but maybe a little less whoa and maybe a little more leg and controlling it to get to a good distance to the second jump. I think that's something overall that I've always struggled with. I've always had this sort of like panic come over me that when I land from a jump, I'm not always totally prepared for the next one. And it's something that I'm working on. We finished up the clinic with a couple of full courses. Here's a clip from one of those. I felt like Gypsy and I did really well at the end, and we both finished strong. So overall, I would say he mostly worked on rideability and just like a general getting a good distance and getting a good ride throughout the different exercises on your horse. There wasn't a lot of time to nitpick on certain things given that there was 4 of us in the group and an hour and 15 minutes. I would say the only thing I wish I had gotten more feedback on would be my rider position and just how I ride. And I think that I can see why he can't spend a lot of time commenting on that. It's a really small time frame, and he's focused on a couple different things. So I am not necessarily disappointed by that. I was hoping just to hear like what he thought of my position, but at the same time, there's 4 people in a group lesson, and you can only work on so much in such like a short period of time. So I think overall, at the end, we did a couple full courses. I think we did those pretty well. I was really pleased with how I rode and how Gypsy did in the clinic. I think one of the big takeaways that Boyd had for us, or me specifically, was just to stay more light and more light with my reactions to things. So light in my seat, and when I jump into the line, lighter with my reaction. I tend to be a little dramatic and panicked, like landing from the jump and feeling like it's fast and thinking, whoa, up. And really, I think I need to work on just being a little more relaxed with my reactions to things like that. And we talked about that, just staying more light and more smooth with how we ride through the course. I definitely tend to get a little over anxious in the middle of the course especially, and I think this was a really good takeaway that the pony mare that I ride can see a really good distance, and I need to be a little more trusting in her to see that distance and a little bit more calm about my riding. Overall, I would say he had some fantastic tips for me and my pony. I think everyone felt like they walked away with some great things to work on. The exercises were super challenging, which was good. I really needed that. I need to work on some of my show jumping. Anyways, I definitely recommend Boyd's clinics. I think I got a lot to work on, and I definitely would pursue doing like a cross-country clinic with him in the future if one came up in my area. And I definitely highly recommend if you get the opportunity to ride with him. I hope you guys enjoyed.